This is the BBC Home Service, and again we go directly to our studio in Dudley for a short recitation from Great Uncle Stanley. Albert and the Vindaloo by Roger Merry. There's a famous curry centre in Blackpool that's noted for hot Vindaloos, where they've buckets of water on the tables and steel straining bars in the loos. Now young Albert had been constipated. For 3 weeks his tum had been funny, till someone told him a curry would give him a good run for his money. So Albert determined to try one, and not knowing which one to choose, shut his eyes, stabbed his fork in the menu. He came down in the hot Vindaloos. It was number 8 Albert had chosen, to relieve him of all constipation, with extra hot sauce to disguise the fact it was off the bone Alsatian. They had a good laugh in the kitchen when somebody picked number 8, and they brought it in quick 'cause it soon dissolves the enamel from off the plate. Albert said a prayer and picked up his fork. Then he thought he'd better make certain he'd have the time to cross the floor to the gents past the plastic curtain. From table to toilet took 12 seconds flat, provided he didn't slip, and the coin-operated lock on the door said 2pence per person per trip. So Albert went back and ate his Vindaloo, till his eyes filled up with tears, and the hairs on his legs turned around and around, and steam came out of his ears. But that infamous number 8 curry had no more effect on his guts than a pint of Watney's Red Barrel and a packet of Planters nuts. He waited for 20 minutes with no results, and then the customers gave a round of applause as he asked for the same again. He retimed his run to the toilet, 10 seconds a nip, to the door marked gents and the sign that said 2pence per person per trip. But after another plateful he didn't feel too grand, as he clenched his teeth and sat there on his arse with his fork in his hand. The waiters waited and waited for the curry to do its worst, but that second Alsatian Vindaloo had no more effect than the first. Another 20 minutes passed. He couldn't speak a word. He just had to point to the menu in order to order his third. A hush fell over the restaurant. They were all too impressed to laugh, and one of the waiters, 2 Sikhs and the chef asked him for his autograph. The manager tried to dissuade him, but Albert just shook his head as he retimed his run to the toilet and make it in 8 seconds dead. As he began the third one, his stomach felt just like Stonehenge, and he'd only forced down 4 forkfuls when the curry began its revenge. The customers cleared a gangway, as, feeling the end was certain, Albert leapt to his feet and in 3 seconds flat had vanished behind the plastic curtain. As the customers waited and waited about the fate of the boy, they heard a muffled explosion and a cry, half anguish, half joy. The minutes passed, then Albert emerged, his face full of venom and hate. They could tell by the way he walked all bow-legged he'd got to the toilet too late. He looked round the crowded restaurant, and a moan passed through his lips. It was lucky for the carpet he was still wearing his bicycle clips. At last he spoke to the waiting crowd in a voice so plaintive and strange. With a £5 note in his hand he gasped, "Has anyone got any change?"